Welcome back to the official Young Hunger podcast for our first episode of the year. And with 2024, we're coming out the gate strong. Allow me to introduce to you Mr. Paul Kennedy, director and co-founder of Like Media, an award-winning creative agency helping e-commerce brands scale up to 7 and 8 figures on social media. A brand that develops exceptional client results by creating content that is authentic and true to your brand. Having worked with some pretty high-profile individuals such as Tyson and Tommy Fury, Kane, Floyd Mayweather and Leah McCourt. This is one not to be missed. Sit back, relax and take note as we talk to this industry leader. Take a look at this.
How's it going? I'm Paul Kennedy. I'm director at Like Media and this is the Young Hunger podcast.
Paul, welcome to the podcast.
So we're running now.
Thank you so much for coming on. Actually, I know you are busy.
Glad we got it in.
Yeah, is podcast something you want to delve more into, or what sort of?
I like the format of a conversation, and I think long form content, which I'm sure we'll get into in this conversation, is important.
Yeah.
And people are definitely consuming long form, so I'm happy to be playing a part in that, like whether a guest or potentially setting up a podcast. But I think I said to you before, like in terms of content output, you could have a 1 hour 30-minute conversation and you might get 4 or 5 usable clips.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking of content as like output and optimization, you could write 20 videos, you could set up your camera and you could shoot 20 videos in 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't do podcasts for the content output. I just like to have a good discussion.
Yeah.
Have a good chat and do something a bit long form, have good coffee and get to meet yourself as well, because you're an interesting guy also. So excited to see how the conversation goes.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. You're like the CEO and director or co-founder of...
Yeah, me and my brother, Jack,
yeah,
a bit younger than me.
Like Media?
Like Media.
Yeah. How did that come about? How did that sort of...
That came about by just adapting and pivoting in the industry. So I've been doing marketing now for a decade. I'm 30 now. I actually started in sales, 0% base, 100% commission only, door-to-door sales over in Australia actually. And that set me on this like personal development journey, because I knew that if I wasn't making sales,
yeah,
I wasn't going to be able to afford to stay in a hostel. I wasn't going to be able to afford to go out. I wasn't getting any money.
What were you selling?
Couple things. Started selling solar panels. Then I became the local milkman, where you go around, you sell milk and bread and veg delivered to the door. So I was just signing people up for that.
Yeah. Sold
like the charity stuff in Australia as well. But it's really good. I was actually doing pretty well there. I was able to save up a lot of money and then go traveling. Yeah. But that's what started me on that journey of actually just, I never really needed a job from that, because I just got into business to business, and then it kind of just grew from coming back doing content. I've always been in the content game, shooting content from when I traveled, even from school, to then shooting for nightclubs, and then I set up an events company. Did a lot of content, a lot of social media marketing for my own company to get that growing, yeah, which was really good. And then eventually realized that paid ads was the route we needed to go to scale that. Started doing paid ads for ourselves, started doing paid ads for clubs and bars, and then like dentists, and then just whoever would fucking work with us. Yeah. And then eventually over time, and as the industry progressed, we got really good at e-com specifically, and that's when we set up Lifelike 4 years ago. Full e-com growth, ads, email, content, and then about 18 months ago, or just less, we went to content only, ad creatives for social media brands, and that was it. And yeah, it's grown exponentially since then. Yeah,
you said your brother is involved as well. How does that work? What's sort of the dynamic between you? Is this something you sort of wanted to do way back? And
yeah, I mean, I went traveling when he was like finishing school. Yeah. And then whenever I came back and he was finishing school, he went and did some travel. So he kind of followed in my footsteps. Yeah. It was like, what am I going to do? I found a nice, with the whole travel thing, you can do it in like chapters, like sections. So you could do like a ski season, which I did, and then he did. You could do like a summer season in MAGA, which I did. He didn't do that, thankfully.
What do you think of MAGA?
Crazy. So you can kind of like partition off these things that you can do, like these things that you can check off, yeah, as experiences. So he was looking for something to do. I found this gig in China where you teach English, and obviously he never taught English to anyone, but he went and did that, which was a crazy experience. And then I went and visited him and did some backpacking down China. We were looking at all these factories and all these products, and when I went back and he stayed, I started getting more into the ad side. And that's where I remember voice noting him. I was like, Jack, you need to get back. Like, this is kicking off. Like, I'm getting clients here, left, right, and center.
Yeah.
I think we're onto something. So I bought a course. So when he came back, I bought a course from Jordan Platten. Shout out Jordan Platten, Affluent Academy. Don't know if anyone knows him. And I made Jack take that course. And he started being the deliverable side of the service. So I would go out and get the deals.
Yeah.
And he would deliver it. And then very quickly we brought in another videographer, which is Jack Hanna, who's our media manager today. And between the three of us, we basically scaled this business.
Where's the entrepreneurial streak come from? The fact that you both are kind of like that. What's your mum and dad like? Are they sort of that way inclined?
Yeah, like they were in the property industry, obviously like pre-2008.
Yeah.
They were like landlords in that. Dad always like sold golf clubs or things, like buy and sell for eBay. But I was like that as well. But I don't think I ever, like I was always it. It was always in me. My dad had these like sales books or, you know, like The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, like those books kicking around the house. So I just read them.
It's interesting that, isn't it?
Yeah, but I guess I also sold sweets in school. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, I even took debt from the shop on the way into school in the morning, bought all the wham bars, sold them, and then on the way back, paid off my debts.
Where did you go?
Grosvenor.
What do they think of that?
They loved it. So the shop was called Warren's, and the guys used to call me Brasso, brass neck apparently. And I used to go into the book as Brasso, £5, you know, 50 wham bars, sell them. But the margins, they weren't good enough for me. I was onto it. So I started selling, when the iPod Touch came out, I started selling music. So you would give me your iPod Touch, 8 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte, £5 or £10, and I would fill it up with music. And that kicked off. Everyone was giving me their iPod Touch. I was making decent notes, and then the teachers were getting involved in that. So they were giving me their iPods. And I was in school. I was 16. I was 16, 17, and like these teachers were wanting ABBA and Dire Straits and everything. I was downloading all the shit.
Tell me about the business. Sort of, if someone was watching this and haven't heard of it, you guys before, and want to be like a potential client, what would be the process that you would take them through?
So the process, let's say you'd heard about us already, so let's say you heard about us, you would book in a call, first of all, and that would kind of get triaged by our team, because we do get a lot of inbound businesses that want to work with us, but we're very selective these days, whereas it used to be, we took everything because we wanted to get the money.
Yeah.
But nowadays, when we're focused on a goal and a growth, we're very selective of who we work with. So we cut about 30% of the calls that get booked in before we even get speaking to them. And then we have a conversation on phone, like on a Zoom. We present a little proposal, we explain our program and how it works. And essentially you would sign up. The client would then ship their product here. Remember I was showing you guys the store of all those products?
Yeah.
So all the products need to get shot. We do all the pre-production, the planning, the scripting. We present the ad campaign that we're going to build to the client, maybe present a few different concepts, a few different ideas, a few different models. They'll give us the sign off, and we'll go away and shoot all that, and then we'll present back to the client all the finished content. So essentially it's everything that they need for their social ads. So top of funnel discovery, never heard of the brand before, so this is who they are, this is what they do, all the way down to they're about to purchase, but they just need that little nudge. So maybe they need like a testimonial, or they need an offer graphic. So we create all that for Meta, TikTok, you know, your stories, your videos, your graphics, your GIFs.
You do all of that?
It's all one big package.
Yeah.
So we send it to them, and that's kind of like phase one. Second phase is then we actually look at the data. We analyze what is actually happening. What's the hook rate? What's the hold rate? How many people are clicking it? How many people are then buying it?
Yeah.
So we look at like the soft and hard metrics, and then we make iterations. So we see what's working and we see what's not. And whatever's working, we make more versions of that. And that's how the brand scales. And then we do a shoot, and then we do an iteration, and then we do a shoot, and then we do an iteration. Yeah. So that's why we're quite selective, because we really get into the meat and bones and nitty gritty.
Who have you worked with before? I've seen you have done like the Essence Vault, Curiosity.
Yeah, Curiosity is a big one. Essence Vault, shout out Connor Martin, unbelievable entrepreneur.
Yeah, we're shooting with him tomorrow.
Brilliant. Yeah. He's very good. So yeah, Lumi Therapy, big client for us. The guys who do the ice baths.
Lamborghini? Yeah,
Lamborghini, that's amazing story. We actually got put onto them by an Australian agency. So again, like you'll see this running this like recurring theme. The biggest brands, they're not really buying from like Facebook ads. They're not really buying from your marketing. They're buying from a conversation that they've had with someone else, and they're talking about the job that you did and how well it was done. So it's the network, and it's doing a great job and getting your name thrown into the hat. So that's how we got to work with Tyson Fury. We had another company mention us, and then I flew to Manchester to pitch. And we were pitching against London agencies and Manchester agencies, and we won that gig, and we worked with them for the last 12 months. Same with Lumi Therapy, like they'd heard about us. Built for Athletes heard about us.
Stat Sports, isn't it?
Stat Sports, yeah, Ryan Clark, unbelievable. Like he has the foresight to know that what we were doing, which was UGC, was something that they could bring into their business. So they gave us a couple of trials with, Drogheda under 19s. The trials went really well, and then that's when we started to unlock the ambassadors. We got to work with Harry Kane, Phil Foden, Tyler Adams, which was incredible experience. So those big jobs, those big clients that we love to post about, that all came from the network or being good in our industry and being long enough in it, providing actual results that backed by data that then we get passed off to the next brand.
How do you sort of find, we'll touch on this maybe later on, but there's actually something I wanted to show you if I can get my phone to work. And I was like, when did you originally start shooting with Tyson Fury?
Blackpool would have been March last year, April.
Because the first time I ever came across yourself was my brother who actually showed me this. I wonder if we can show it here.
100% muscle fitness.
That one?
What's the date on that?
Tyson Fury.
I think it's March,
So
I tell
that
you
would
what,
have come out a few weeks after.
was it? Because funny enough, my brother was like, here, have you seen this guy from here work with like Tyson Fury? And I was like, no. He's like, he's young, you should look at him. And I was like, oh my, like, how is this possible? Like, do you know what I mean? What's he like? What's Tyson and Tommy too, isn't it?
Yeah, and Tyson and Tommy, we worked with them both with two completely different projects from two completely different sources. That was serendipitous. Tyson is mad.
Is he?
Totally mad. Everyone asks me this, and they're asking me like, everyone saw the Netflix documentary.
Yeah.
We're in that documentary, and he is like what he's portrayed in the documentary. And I know they play on it quite a lot, his mood swings, but he's such a nice guy. Like, he's so fun. Yeah. His energy is incredible. So when when we walked in, and the first time I ever met him, we're all obviously real nervous. He just walks in, larger than life. He's like, let's go. What's happening? Let me see that. What's happening, my boy?
Yeah, massive too, isn't he? Like,
huge.
6'8", 6'9".
Something like that. Yeah. Mad guy.
And Tommy too. That's mad because you look like you're like best mates online. Because I think he's doing that, and I was like, what?
We have had a night out that went a bit wild.
Cut the camera.
Worked with him first in Dubai.
Yeah.
That was the Floyd Mayweather gig that we got. And I was actually filming with Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. But he is a very closed off guy. He would stay in the car for 2 hours. You wouldn't actually get to see him. So it was a really bad use of my time to, like, obviously Floyd Mayweather, you think this is the creme de la creme. Yeah. But it wasn't a very good experience. Even though I love Floyd and I think he's the GOAT, as a content creator, I'm kind of just sitting there. Yeah. So we put one of our juniors on him, and I went and filmed Tommy. So I got really close with Tommy, got close with his manager to the point where they were kind of trusting us. We were shooting, from afar. We weren't trying to be intrusive or invasive or in his space. We're just shooting, doing the content, doing a good job, putting it out there. He didn't have a TikTok at all. I was like, why do you have a TikTok? Like, I made 3 videos. If you go to his TikTok, we set it up. The first 3 videos are our videos. Sort of just helping him get on that path, and his manager too, Jake, legend guy. And then slowly but surely throughout that week in Dubai, we were getting a little bit more opportunity. Got the call, do you want to come to the villa at midnight to film a training session? He's like acclimatized to his fight. Yeah, I'll be there. So I went down. I already had a couple of beers.
What was the fight that time?
That was when he was fighting Paul Bamba, but Paul Bamba pulled out. And he had to fight a different guy, but the headline was Floyd Mayweather versus Deji. Yes, that was a big one in Dubai. Like, everyone was there. Jake Paul was there. The Tate brothers were there.
Did you just walk out with the Tates or something?
Jack walked Andrew Tate out. The fucking most bizarre story.
I thought I seen that and I was like, no way.
Because we were like ringside with our cameras.
Yeah.
And Tate was Tate and
Tristan.
Tristan and Andrew were right there on the seats at our side. Yeah. And like, Jack was basically running cards between our cameras and the editors at the back because we were trying to turn over reels really quickly. Yeah. There's 4 cameras and there's 2 editors. So he was running cards. So he actually just had like all access pass. And whenever Tate was walking out, there was all the bodyguards. So, Jack's here, Andrew's here, and then all the bodyguards just swarmed around him. And if you watch his POV video, like he's on his shoulder.
Yes, I think
and
that.
all the cameras are on him walking out, and it's just Andrew and Jack. And then Tristan's behind, and they're just walking up, and I was like, I'm sitting there with my camera like, what the fuck? And then he did the exact same thing with Floyd.
Did he?
So there's an incredible photo of Floyd there, and his whole entourage around him. And Jack's just like behind Floyd. How do you get in this position?
Because then you guys, like, you were shaking hands with like the Tate brothers as well.
Yeah, that didn't go down well on Instagram. Like,
no?
That was my most liked and my most hated photo at the same time. Like,
why?
the most, because the girls, like...
Hate the guy, yeah.
Do we even want to get into it in this pod? I don't know. But it was polarizing.
Yeah.
We just switched 40 directions there. Tommy, sweet. Yeah, Tyson, sweet. We were trying to get on to working with my brother.
No, you're grand. I actually had like the like Tyson stuff, and later on, I'm big into the fighting.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing your story before. It was like it was the Misfits event and stuff, and like Logan Paul was just walking by you or something. And I was like,
yeah.
how?
We were Team Dennis. I was with the other Dennis.
Oh, yes, that's right. Actually, so did you get to see all like everything, like the square offs and all? And
my video went viral on Twitter for when they threw the mic.
Yeah, I hit him in the eye, didn't it?
At the start, because I was at the very front, in the middle, and I was just recording anyway. And as soon as it happened, I just threw it up. But then a better angle came out when it was at the side.
Yeah.
And you saw the
hit.
And you remember the guy who threw the prime bottle and it bounced off 3 heads? We interviewed him.
Oh, did it?
Just for shits and gigs, just for content.
Yeah. How does it feel like you guys, you and your brother, have sort of started a brand that you're now mixing with the likes of these type of people? How does that feel?
It does feel like it's a pinch me moment, and we try not to get complacent, and we try not to feel, we know how blessed that we are, and how lucky we are. And Jack said to me whenever we were in Dubai, he said, like, what is going on? Every time we turn around, there is a bigger celebrity like there. Because we were like with all the fighters and the niche fighters that some people didn't know, and then like the good fighters and like Tyron Woodley, and then like Tommy, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then Jake came out, and then like we did the video with them bouncing out whenever Tommy nearly got out of the ring to fight Jake.
Yes, I seen that.
And then John took his top off. Yeah. So I was on the corner doing that video that just got ripped by everyone, and they threw their logos on it. I did that video, and Jack's again right there, and we're just looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on?
That's content gold, really, isn't it?
Because as long as you just keep rolling, like, because I had the camera in one hand and my phone in the other.
Your mouth's just open.
I did a selfie. I was like, what? And we just looked at each other after, like, who the fuck next is going to walk through this door? Like, it's Steven Seagal was there. Like, mate, it was weird. So even though we're not mixing with them, they're just like people that were there. Yeah. It was still count your blessings. Like, this could all go away. So be really grateful and be present.
That's mad, isn't it? I want to sort of touch back on I did want to ask you that, but I want to touch back on the brand for a second. If someone was looking, you guys made Life Like Media into a reality. If someone was looking to do something similar in any form or any industry, what initial steps did you have to take to get there? The
first step is the step that nobody takes, which is just start. Yeah. So we started before we had the brand name. We started before we had the Instagram page. We just started doing stuff. Yeah. Started being present, started turning up, getting the cameras rolling, doing what we wanted to do, what we needed to do before we had the brand. Yeah. And I remember like trying to come up with a brand name as like, I have all these photos, I have all these videos, I'm at these fights with Leah McCourt. Leah McCourt was one of the first people I ever worked with. Yeah. I was she headlined the 3 Arena for Bellator. And I was like, we're getting all these cool content pieces. Like, we need an Instagram page for this. Yeah. So we started before we built the brand, whereas most people will get paralyzed on the logo. Yeah. What's the name? What's the logo? That's analysis paralysis. What you need to do is you need to figure out what it is that you actually want and then start. And everything else falls into place after. Yeah. And even if you look back in time, no one gives a fuck what your brand even is, what the name even is, or what the logo looks like, and you can change it if you want. Yeah. But you can't change the year that you wasted thinking about it and staying in your 9 to 5, not taking the plunge or whatever it is, whatever's paralyzing you, you need to start. So that's what I'd say to most people, start.
One thing I actually noticed about you guys is your team is so strong. Like, even on like social media and all, everyone's eager to learn and work and sort of bond as a team. How do you find people like that? How do you create a team of highly motivated individuals?
I think we attract them as well. So by being really authentic as a brand, like we are a marketing agency, we're an advertising agency, but our specialist is content. Yeah. So we're putting out content. So we're doing what we tell people to do. And then the content is pretty natural. Like, it is what happens. We're actually probably not even showing, a tenth of what really goes on and how fun it really can be. But then there's also the really hard work. So it's finding the balance between, let's be really fun, let's put that out there, let's document what we're doing, and that attracts a lot of people. Yeah. And then whenever we are doing a hiring round, we're looking very carefully, okay, first of all, do you have the minimum skill level required? And that's the first thing, because everything else can be taught. Like, our systems will be taught to you. Very few people know how to do what we do because it is quite unique, forward thinking. Yeah, we've spent a lot of money on ads to learn what we know. So we don't expect people to come in knowing it, but we expect them to have a level of standard. We expect them to be good. If you're coming in as a videographer and a video editor, you're expected to be very good, because if you're not, the next person will take your job. So there's always that where and I say this, and it's not like toxic or anything. I say, like, there is no job security here. It's in your own hands. You're never going to get fired. Yeah. Unless you drop down below your standard, because you're only as strong as your weakest person. So if you drop down, the whole team drops down, but there's going to be someone who's going to come up and want to hit this level of standard, and I can just teach them the system. Yeah. So that's the first thing, being really clear about that. Second thing is like hiring for culture as well, like the soft skills that we can't teach. Are you dead on? Do you look after yourself? Do you look after your mind? Can you get along with people? Or the other side is it like, are you like a nerd? Are you nerdy about your thing? Like, do you really love your thing? Because if you do, that's great, because you're passionate. Yeah. So we like to find like particular soft skills in people. We do have events that we do as a team. We do like go-karting, Christmas parties, things like that we look forward to, maybe on like a quarterly basis. So we work really hard for 3 months, and then we have some fun. And that's almost like the carrot that we're dangling to get them and to get everyone excited, so you know that they're working towards something. I suppose everyone's looking at you. You and your brother are the boss. So you're sort of setting the standard for everyone on the brand. Yeah, and one of our employees said that, like in one of our review sessions there, where they're like, you sit at the same table as us. Whereas in some companies, and I didn't even think about this is just the way it is, but some bosses have their own office, and they say, well, we don't have an office. Like, I sit here, Jack sits here, like the girls that are doing the UGC sit there, like the editors are there, like we're all amongst it. Yeah. And I'm in the office early and I'm leaving late, and they see that. And Jack Hanna is like a grafter, Matt's a grafter. Like, these guys are absolute grafters. They're in early, they're leaving late. Like, no stone gets left unturned during a shoot. How does that feel whenever you see your team? Yeah, it's like awesome. Yeah. And probably I should give them more credit, but I'm not that kind of guy. Yeah. I don't really. You're expected to be good. Anyway. Yeah. That's why you're here, and that's why you actually. It's like, what do you want? A handshake, a pat on the back, a letter? Like, well, how about a paycheck? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It might sound a bit cruel, but that's what my thinking is. It's like, well, you get paid to be good. Yeah. So what else are you looking for? Like, be really good, and then I'll fucking give you whatever you want. Yeah. But it's, I see those guys, and they know that we appreciate them, and they're doing really, really well. What makes life like unique in your industry, do you think? In our industry, we're so focused on making money for our clients, whereas all these other content agencies, or a lot of them, especially in Northern Ireland, are going for engagement and views and followers. Maybe I think it's getting more popular to do some lead gen for local businesses as well, but at the end of the day, if you're going to retain a client, they need to be seeing an ROI on your investment. So it's not cheap to work with us either. So like, our USP, I would say, is we've spent over $4 million on ads, whereas no other videographer in Northern Ireland combined has spent even anywhere close to that. So we actually know what happens whenever someone scrolls past your video. Yeah. We actually have the data in the first 3 seconds. we know what the strongest hooks are, we know how to hold and re-engage people into a video, and we know what offers get people to click, and we know what offers get people to click with buying intent versus just click and then click off.
Yeah.
So that data and those metrics, and I guess the brands that we've worked with, I think that's what positions us slightly uniquely, because we're competing with Manchester and London. We're not actually competing in Northern Ireland because there's not really anyone that does direct-to-consumer e-commerce ad creatives.
Yeah.
No one's doing that here. And I know there's going to be people that are going to start to do it because we post so much about it.
Yeah.
They're going to see that as an opportunity, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Enter the ring.
No, I like it because I seen it and I was like, these are definitely guys that we need to speak to, because our podcast is based on being young and hungry. Essentially for young hunger. But basically, we want to sort of go around and ask people like yourself how you got to where you are, because I'm sure other people are learning from this, from the likes of yourself and in all these different industries and stuff. Do you have any daily rituals? What does that look like?
Yeah, I do. I care about that stuff. I'm almost like borderline autistic about my routine. Like if I don't have it, I don't like it. So my routine like starts in the evening. You know, I must be winding down by 9:30. I must be in bed for 10. You know, I have my pre-bedtime routine. I'll get some thoughts out on the page. Otherwise, I'll be lying there like.
Yeah.
So I like to do that. I like to wake up early. It was hard for me to wake up early, but I kind of worked my way down to it. So I wake up at 6 and I immediately go and put the coffee on and I'll start work, because the quicker I can get from waking up to work, the quicker I can get into my workflow. So I'll do a 90-minute work block. Sometimes it'll be even a wee bit longer if I'm really in my flow. I'll go to about 8 o'clock and I'll have done a lot of work where it's not reactive, it's building. So the ideas that you have when you're in a sauna or when you're on a walk, that's when I'm implementing those. When I'm trying to write videos or I'm trying to write, you know, VSLs or, you know, plan pieces of my business, that happens in that window. Because as soon as I go into the office then, it's firefighting. It's just reactive. There's emails, there's this, there's that, there's everything that happens. Yeah. And it's really hard to actually get work done, I find, especially a little bit like, it's hard for me to get really focused and my attention will go other ways in that work environment. So
solving problems, talking to people.
Exactly. So I'll maybe do like 5% of every task when I'm in the office. Yeah. Whereas I'm at home in that morning block, I'll do 75% of the task or 80 or all completed. Yeah. So that's really important to me. And like my girlfriend will attest to this, you know, she's asked me to help her with something at 10 and I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. Like, do you realize like what you're asking of me here? Yeah. It's quite a big deal. And so I love that as a routine. That's kind of like the micro ones. Is that what you were kind of getting at?
Yeah. Because I seen you put something up in your story this morning. It was like, with a book, was there a book you had in front of you?
Yeah, I like to read 10 pages a day. That's something I picked up from 75 Hard. Yeah. And I want to continue into, like, I like to read anyway, but I wouldn't be as consistent as when I was during that program.
What type of thing are you reading, or what's the go-to?
I'm reading 3 books at the minute, which again just proves my mind is fucked. I don't know. So right now I'm reading Principles, Ray Dalio, really good book, all about like life principles and work principles. Yeah. Right now I'm on a really important part of the book, which is about decision making. So I have some big decisions to make myself at the minute. So that's a great book. Reading 48 Laws of Power again by Robert Greene. I read that when I was younger. Yeah. Reading it again, and I'm also reading the Lego story by, what do you call him, Kirk Christensen, the Danish guys who made Lego, and that's just really interesting. So I've got that going.
How'd you find 75 Hard? Because I seen you guys did it, and then you finished up just before Christmas and all, and your results were mad, wasn't it?
That just shows you like you can get those results. I thought I was good and like thought I was in good shape, but then whenever I look at the difference, clearly wasn't. Yeah.
Is it 2 sessions and then it's like 4 litres of water?
4 litres of water, 2 workouts a day, 1 must be outside, 10 pages, and what was the other one? Diet.
And a diet.
Diet and photo. So like the diet is, I had a decent diet anyway, but it was just dialing that in. Yeah. Being more intense in the gym. Really figuring out what my sessions were going to be so I didn't get bored, because you're doing it now as well.
I am, yeah.
So we got a lot of messages from people that were saying, how did you do 75 hard, or what's the advice you give? And I was saying the same thing. Yeah. I was saying get a routine and have a plan, because if you fall out, it's going like day 30, day 40, it gets very, very hard. Yeah. So you need that right routine and structure, and you need accountability. you need a small group. So there was 5 of us in a WhatsApp group every day, just chatting each other, like posting our walks, posting our wins, and it was really good. And then after, because I was getting messages, I was probably getting like 20, 25 messages, people that said they were going to do it this year and they wanted some advice. So I put us all into a WhatsApp group, and I was like, listen, this group's for people that have decided they want to do something this year, do a serious challenge and grow this year. And now we're up to about 40 people in that group chat. We went seed it today, this morning, just before this. And it's such a powerful place because every day people are just posting their wins. They're posting their ice bath. They're posting, and one of my goals is to learn Spanish. So every day I'm doing the Duolingo. So I'm posting that, posting the reading, and people are just posting that and helping each other achieve those goals. So accountability is a huge thing in business and in life.
A couple of you did the 75 hard in the office, didn't you?
Yeah, so
that's where your accountability.
Yeah, so I had an alarm on in the office at 12, and it used to go off, and I was like, water, and we go up there, down it like a litre.
How'd you find the 4 water, or is it 4 litres, isn't it? How'd you find that? That's a tight, like.
But again, routine, you get that first 500 in as soon as you wake up, and that's a big chunk gone.
Yeah.
You get a protein shake, like the ISO way with 500 mils of water. That was another 500. You're doing a litre and a half during work, and do another litre and a half when you're doing your workout in your sauna, easy.
Yeah.
But it's when you follow that routine, at the end of the night, you're chugging a glass of water.
Yeah.
And then you're up in the night and you're peeing, and then that ruins your morning, and then you fall out of your ways, you see?
Yeah. You do the ice baths as well, don't you?
Yeah, do the ice baths. Ice baths, honestly, like, wasn't a big fan at the start, but they're unbelievable.
Yeah, addictive.
I'll tell you the fact I learned. So I did an ice bath with the founder of Lumi, Gavin Tate. He's a legend guy, like, crazy story. If you ever get a chance to interview him, you really should. So we were doing the shoot with Lumi Therapy and Tommy in Manchester, and we all did an ice bath at the end of the shoot. Like, Tommy Fury, right? Big, hench, serious.
Shape, yeah.
Pussy in the ice bath.
Is he?
Yeah. Serious. We had to turn it up for him, get it warmer. So we all did an ice bath then, and Gavin was explaining, like, he was guiding us through it, like guiding our breath, like guiding us and telling us all these benefits. And he said that the dopamine increase in the ice, or in the cold water, it's a 250% increase in dopamine release, which is equivalent to taking cocaine, right? But the cocaine lasts like, 4 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is. But the ice bath lasts between 3 to 4 hours. So, and you feel that, like, I did it and I feel it now. Like, I probably wouldn't be this energetic. I feel like I'm loud right now, or I'm a wee bit, like, I don't know, I just feel on when we're speaking here.
Yeah.
Normally I would be a little bit more reserved, but I'm still on the high, which was an hour and a half, like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Where do you go? Is it Hell and Bay?
But we only just started that.
Did you?
Yeah, we just started that with the group we made. Yeah. Whereas I would have done like cold showers and ice baths before. But now I want to do that more consistently because it's a great way to start the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. That's something me and Ross you as well, didn't you? Ice baths, definitely. Something, as you said, like.
Do you have an ice bath?
I actually had an actual bath, but it broke, so I'm actually using a bin, like an actual bin.
Good.
Just whatever you can.
No excuses, is it?
No, actually a guy we had on before, Daniel Dorgan, have you heard of him?
I've heard of him. I wanted to listen to that episode actually.
Yeah, he's actually really good for like ice baths because he's done it for like a year and a half or something of every day.
Every day,
which is pretty nuts. But there's one thing I want to sort of touch with you on, and you go out with like a former Miss Northern Ireland, isn't she?
Yeah, I still do. We live together.
Well, here's the thing, right? Do you have any advice for those single men
picking up worldies?
Yeah, including myself. Or
no one's ever asked me that before.
I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to ask him because.
Well, this is what I did.
Okay.
So if you
how long was the pen?
If you can do this, then I recommend it. It's going to sound so, I don't know what it's going to sound like. First time we met, we were introduced at a Miss NI event, and my cousin was in it, and like lots of my mutual friends are like in that world with ACA.
Yeah.
So I went along, and she was going to Australia. My cousin introduced us because I did the whole Australia thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, do you know, like, so obviously he was really good looking, so I was like, sweet, cheers for the introduction. And I was like, here, why don't we grab a coffee and I'll explain to you everything about Australia. And she's like, oh, that'll be lovely, right? But then like went home and I was like, she's about to go to Australia, like why the fuck am I gonna grab a coffee with her? Like, it makes no sense. So I ended up not doing it. I ended up not following through with the coffee. And then she went traveling, did the whole Australia thing. She asked some question about GoPros. I knew everything about like GoPros and content cameras, so I started DMing her. And then I was doing a shoot in the Maldives, believe it or not, and I needed to build a team. So I was like, here, I see you're traveling.
Yeah.
Do you fancy coming to the Maldives, all expenses paid, and doing a shoot with us?
Yeah.
So I brought some of my mates, videographers, and one of her friends as well, Catherine Walker, so she'd obviously feel comfortable.
Miss Northern Ireland.
Yeah, another Miss Northern Ireland. And the first time that we'd like met since that original "Do you want to go for coffee?" was her getting off the boat on the island, and the cameras were rolling, and we had to like pretend that I was like helping her off the boat.
Yeah.
Because the boat only comes on the island first thing in the morning and like one more time during the day. Otherwise you're like isolated.
That's cool.
So we did that, and then we shot that video, and then that was like, you know, holiday romance. And then she continued to travel, and we just kept in touch, and we did some dates after. So
yeah.
I guess if you're asking me what the advice is, it's take them to Maldives, all expenses paid.
Where's the island?
It absolutely seals the deal.
That's class. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's our story. Now it's out in the open.
It was just one question of the coffee because I wanted to ask you. I was like, wonder what you say.
Be dead on.
Yeah.
Be authentic.
Yeah.
Try and be a wee bit funny, and don't try and be cocky.
I want to get a wee bit more serious for a moment here.
Hang on.
But water. But what would you consider a key factor of your own success?
Key factor. I visualize what I want, and then I take the actions that are going to get me there. And I don't believe, actually, you know, Nico said this to me once, and he's so true. But it's kind of like a compliment, but it's a backhanded compliment. It's like, my head's in the clouds. He said, your head's in the clouds. You're in Lululand because of the things that I've been trying to do. And he's so right. But by nature of setting my goals so high and working towards those goals, you know, even if I don't hit them, I'm considerably further ahead than had I have just not done anything. So I do believe in manifestation and visualization. Like, that's all I do. I'm in the sauna every day. I get out of the sauna, and I have this wee line, and it's like, whenever I get out of the sauna, I am the person that I need to be to do the things that I just thought about there. So like, I'm a different person when I get out every time. And because I used to do that way back when I was like 17, 18. So I think like the macro thing, the macro reason is that I manifest it all. I believe that it's going to happen, and then the piece that everyone forgets is actually doing the work. So writing the emails, you know, recording the video, editing the video, putting it out there for people to see.
Yeah.
You know, not really caring how I come across. In some instances, you know, everyone has an ego and everyone does feel, what is it like? The pressures of putting stuff on content and thinking they're going to get hate. But there's this thing called the spotlight effect. Everyone has it, where you think that people are paying more attention to you than they actually are. Deep down, nobody actually gives a shit about you. So, except for like your close family, no one really cares what you're putting out.
Yeah.
So it's taking the action step, no judgment, and working towards whatever that goal is.
That's like a superpower, whenever you understand it, isn't it?
It is. I mean, all the greats would talk about it. You know, Conor McGregor, Tony Robbins.
Would you study the greats? Who would you study if you were?
Came up studying Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, Brian Tracy for sales, because I was in that sales environment, to the point where I was like attracting the next sale. I knew that the next door I was going to knock on was going to be a sale. And if it wasn't, it was like, oh, well, then it's the next one. And it's the next one. And eventually it was going to be one.
Yeah.
Law of averages.
Yeah.
It had to be. So that, you know, that sort of stuff, that's tangible stuff. That's not like wishy-washy. It's not knocking the door until you get a sale is practical.
Yeah. Funny you mention that, because everyone we've said it a couple of times, has talked about that. Everyone has that sort of, they listen to, like Tony Robbins, or, you know, that type of person, that type of mindset. It's like a similarity that the last 22 or 23 people we've done all have.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fascinating, and
I think that's good.
well. Yeah.
I think it's like, it kind of proves that that knowledge is there.
Yeah.
It's not like it's probably, if I'm saying this, I don't really know who your listenership is, but if I'm saying this, it's not probably the first time they're hearing it. But is this the time that they hear it, that they go, all right, fuck it. This is the way. Or let me just try this and see. Let me get my own, my own data. And they run it and they manifest, they visualize, they write their goals down. They write down step by step. They write it down as if they have it already. It's like, I own this thing. I am this person, even though they're not. And then you become that person.
That's all stuff you do, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When did you do it from? Do you remember?
Really young, like 16.
Before it actually ever took off, I suppose.
But my goals were different then. I travel 30 countries. I have an online business. I make 5K a month. That was what my goal was back then.
Yeah.
So, and I look at it. I keep all my notebooks. I see that stuff and I'm like, fair play.
Yeah.
But
do you ever read through them being like, tick, 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 you know what I mean?
I don't take it, but I look at them and be like, what was I thinking? Like, I am 85 kilos of lean muscle. Like, my rugby, when I was playing rugby, like my goals were about sports and rugby. Like, when I was injured, my goals were about recovery.
Yeah.
I was very badly injured once upon a time, and I was in hospital I was in a coma for 3 days. When I woke up, my goal was, I'm getting out of this hospital inside of 10 days. Like, no, you're not. You're going to be here over Christmas. You're going to be here for 30 days. But I was like, but I can't be.
Yeah.
I have too much to do. I have to get out of here.
Yeah.
And I manifested healing, like putting energy into my broken legs, putting energy into like where I was sore. Like, that is truly powerful. I wrote a 10-day plan. Day 3, I'm going to like start stretching, like just touching my toes. Day 5, I'm going to get up to go to the toilet. Day 5, got up, went to go to the toilet, collapsed on my arse because I've been lying down for like a week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's that, write a plan, do the plan, make adjustments as you feel, feel forward. Feeling's great. You're supposed to feel.
It's like a golden thread nearly, isn't it?
Yeah.
That everyone seems to have. What was I going to say there? I was going to ask, this is something again we ask people, but what does success look like to you? What is that? Because it's different for everybody, but I want to sort of see your perspective.
Do you mean like what is success right now, like as we are, or like what am I striving for? What does the word success mean?
Sort of both, right now, and I guess where you're looking to go.
Well, like, I suppose success is, it's not really money for me as much as it's freedom to do the things that I want to do, but money is the unlock.
Yeah.
If I was to say I was successful, I would be achieving the goal that I laid out to achieve, like maybe the macro goal, or got as close to it as possible. That would be successful. Whether that be a body goal, a family goal, happiness goal, monetary goal.
Yeah.
You set out to achieve something, you action that and you achieve it, that's success.
No matter what it is.
No matter what it is, because it's going to be different, right?
Yeah.
Your success might be to grow this podcast. Brilliant. You're doing it by doing a podcast episode every week. My success will be to grow my business. Brilliant. Doing that by turning up every week, growing the team, growing the clientele. I have goals inside of my physical, my relationship, I'll be successful in those goals if I work towards them and start achieving them,
What inspired you to do it? I guess, live the life you're currently living. What sort of inspired you?
Travel.
It's 30 countries and stuff.
Did 40 before I was 30. That was my goal. Did 42. So after school, did 6th year, realised, loved 6th year, by the way, loved school. School was really good, loads of friends, got on with teachers, had a really successful school year, played rugby, realised that I wasn't going to go to uni because it wasn't what I wanted to do. Could have been fine, had loads of crack, but wasn't what I wanted to travel. And that didn't really sit well with Grosvenor because they wanted as many people going into uni for their little scorecard or whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I wanted to do. And they were like, well, why are you wasting your time in 6th year? And that's when I realised, I was like, it's not a fucking program. Like, do you know what I mean? You can do whatever you want. So I went, as soon as I could get out of school at 18, I went to Canada, became a ski instructor because I wanted to ski. That's what I wanted to do, but I didn't have any money. So how could I ski for 6 months with no money? Well, I'll become a ski instructor because then they're going to pay me to ski, which is exactly what happened. So I did that. And that's when I realized, when I said earlier, there's like little blocks of things you can do. What else do I want to do? Well, I want to party in Spain, so I'll go my roof. I got a job. I did a season. What else do I want to do? I want to travel the world. I'll go to Australia. Australia pays you really well. Loaded up on money. Went to Asia. Went to America. went around Europe.
Were you on your own when you did all that? Or was there like...
You're never on your own. I went to Canada on my own.
Yeah.
But when I was in Heathrow Airport, started sinking pints with these guys from North England. Next minute, we're nearly missing our flight. Next minute, we're on Air Canada, absolutely hammered. And we land in Canada, and they're my mates.
Yeah.
And that was us for the whole season. So you're never on your own. But yeah, well, I didn't go with like my schoolmates. You know, either they all went into jobs or went to uni.
Yeah. I suppose that people probably look at that, going to Canada and maybe not going to uni as a risk. What would be, are you a risk taker, I suppose, or are you a risk guy?
Yeah, definitely. Less so now, because I have employees and stuff, but you have to be a risk taker. Like,
yeah,
you gotta get outside your comfort zone, especially if your goal is out there. You're never going to achieve it.
Yeah.
Just staying in your same routine, doing your same stuff. Yeah, but it's fine to risk it young.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose anything, like.
Yeah.
You know.
What about like? Always love touching on like lessons. Your biggest lessons, maybe in business, like the hardship, because you know yourself. Like Instagram always shows the good and the ups, but like maybe behind the camera or any time you're like, I'm actually really struggling here, and this is how I got through it. Is there any advice you have?
Yeah, I mean, talk out your problems, talk out your failures. There is a lesson in each failure, and as long as you can figure out what that is, that like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I failed this, but you know, I learned. The lesson was learned." It's like, okay, well, what did you learn?
Yeah,
they'll not be able to tell you. You keep that in the back of your mind. Someone says, "Oh, you know, I failed this thing, but you know, the lesson was learned."
Yeah.
Well, what was the lesson? Try and think about what that was, like on a micro level. And learn next time. Like we failed 3 times this year, massively. Well, sorry, in 2023, 3 big failures, but it hasn't crippled us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deals that fell through, projects that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
And what I realized then is we need to stay in our lane, because we tried to do some stuff that was a wee bit too left field, and we tried to get in an industry that we weren't really in, and not even at the lower end. We tried to get in at the top, and we tried to make some big deals happen. And it didn't happen, and that's fine. You know, it kind of, I took the slap.
Yeah.
And now I realized stay in our industry, build what we're building here. And that was a good lesson for us.
Do you feel like it was good doing that? So like you don't look back when you're 80 being like, I wish I tried that?
I'll probably try it again when we're better positioned for it. Yeah. But, you know, if you don't try, you'll never know kind of thing.
Yeah. I
don't regret trying, and we might have lost some money, we might have lost some time, maybe many, many months of time. But fuck it, you know, it was good crack. We learned, and we did have fun along the way in some of those cases. Some of the deals up all night trying to make shit happen, didn't happen. Like, I guess we're constantly failing, but the things that happen that go right, that's what you see, and that's what moves you to the next level. Yeah.
Do you think that's like a secret ingredient to success?
Which?
Failure?
Yeah, who do you know that's 100% strike rate?
None.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Kobe's missed more shots than most people have ever hit.
Yeah.
Like nobody is 100% strike rate. So yeah, you have to fail. You have to keep going.
I'm down. I know you're sort of pressed for time here, but I've got a couple last questions I want to throw by you. I sort of wanted to go into strategies. If someone's looking, you guys kill the marketing game. Is there any good strategies you guys have for people that could take away something from this podcast? So
strategies, do you mean like real, like high level, or like the tactics, like take out your phone and do this?
I say take out your phone and do this. Like what was sort of social media based, what would you be like, this works?
What works is, let's talk about social media then, let's talk about content. Deciding what you want to go, like this is a recurring theme, I've already said it many times, deciding what it is that you want, who you want to be and what your niche is. Niche is pretty important. So get your niche first, and then write 20 videos on Google Docs. 20 videos that you're going to shoot, write them first. Don't just like have an idea and then ramble on. Write it so that it's well delivered and clean and structured.
So you have it all scripted out?
You have it all scripted out, 100%. And there's a little matrix, and I can give you the matrix. You can stick it in the notes if you want. It'll help people. And it's like, along the top, you'll write, you know, let's say your industry is marketing like mine, right? So maybe you'll have social media, maybe you'll have like TikTok, maybe you'll have case studies, maybe you'll have like, I don't know, in trends, right? And then down the side, you'll have tips. So you put like an X in the box. So it's like social media tips, right? TikTok tips, and then you know, like tips. What are the other ones? And case studies is one down the other side. Anyway, there's this whole big matrix, and you just work your way down it. And when you're looking for a content idea, and you write all the content, you set up your laptop, you set up your phone or your camera if you don't have a phone, or sorry, yeah, your camera. If you don't have a camera, set up your phone. Yeah. Set up a light, have that station built, and just rip for 45 minutes, 1 hour, however long it takes, and just read all those videos. There's even an AI app where you can read it, and the AI will fix your eyes onto the camera, so it doesn't even look like you're reading it, if you need to do that. And then get those edited and just post them every single day. Because by nature of doing that, you're going to be putting out content, so you're going to get seen in the industry that you want to be in. By nature of doing it every day, you're going to hit the consistency button, which is what the platform likes. Yeah. And you're going to get into a really good routine of posting every day, which is obviously just going to elevate you across the board anyway. So that's a tangible thing that I did it. You go scroll to the bottom of my Instagram, you'll see all the videos that we did in my dad's house over lockdown. I had a big bushy beard, wearing a cap. I was like, you just need to make sure that you're on social media. You need to make sure that you're posting every day. Like that most basic shit. Yeah. And then it just got better and better and better and better and better. And then we got more data, and then I was telling people tricks that were happening in the industry. So you'll get to that point, but only when you start pushing the videos out. Now, you could do 100 different things, but that's just like one thing that you could do. Yeah,
because actually, whenever I was, before we did the podcast, I was sort of having a look through, that's something I wanted to ask you, being like the progression from like 2020. But say I picked you up, you ever seen like Undercover Billionaire?
I saw Grant Cardone do it.
Yeah, say if I picked you up and put you in somewhere in America, took your name, took everything away, gave you £100 on a beat up truck, I guess, how would you get back to where you are?
Sales.
What would be your first step to getting there?
I would do sales for someone. How do you do sales for someone? You got to do sales. You got to sell yourself to the company first. So I would just find, again, how many doors am I going to knock of how many different businesses in whatever street that you send me on. Yeah. I would just say, what are you, a beautician, right? Can I do sales for you? I'll bring you leads. I'll bring you clients, and give me 10% of everything that I bring you. Okay, sweet. I would even try and negotiate higher, but I would just start that, and I would just consistently hit doors, knocking on doors. Hey, we've got this really great offer on at the minute. It's offer X. Yeah. And then I would do the whole sales process, and by nature of that, I would then start accumulating cash, and then the next step would kind of depend on where I am and what's going on. But I would start to use that cash to leverage maybe tools. Maybe I use cash to leverage social media. Maybe I use cash to leverage a person. Or, you use the cash to buy yourself the time so you can continue to do high net worth activities. Yeah. So that's what I would do. Sales is the key. Yeah. Sales is everything.
You felt like you're the type of guy who was good at sales from like day one? Or was that something you maybe picked up?
Definitely studied it, but
did you?
You don't, I don't know, maybe some people have the gift of the gab. Yeah. And I was very lucky being in Australia, having like an Irish twang in my voice. See the 40-year-old mother. Yeah. If a 40-year-old mother opened the door, I knew I was selling there. It was just and when I worked at Scalini, see if there was a table of like mid-40s, whatever, that's my table, because I would get the biggest tip. Because I just had a way of chatting to them like, almost like their cheeky son. But I just knew that I would be able to, connect with them on an authentic level. Yeah. And just provide some value, provide some jokes I had up my sleeve, and just get a really good tip. Yeah. See him at the door, same jokes, same script, same thing coming out of my mouth every single time, but it was new to each person that opened the door.
It's fascinating.
It is, but like sales can be learned, that's the thing. If you want to get into sales, I'd go look at Brian Tracy, he's the GOAT. He's who I learned from first.
I suppose you're selling, even if you're not a salesman, do you know what I mean? Like to get into a relationship, you nearly need to sell yourself. Yeah. To get into it. Don't you?
Everything is sales.
I actually learned that. Maybe Grant Cardone maybe said that. I don't know, I think.
Not sure, but it definitely is.
Nah. On my last one here, where do you envision life like media going in the future? Say 5 years.
I guess it could go in two directions. Number one, we could scale it right up, which is what we're trying to do. And then either A, get bought out by a big media house, or B, we buy a media house. Yeah. You see? And then either way, that's just going to be like an acquisition that gets us to that top level. In the short medium term, I'd want to get a few more C-suite level employees in who can really tighten up the ship, run it more like a company, and let me go and do what I'm good at, which is I'm not the best as a CEO. I'm good CMO, good at marketing, I'm good at sales, good at business development, but I'm not great at just like organizing everything and making it all roll in one direction. I'd rather just go off and a little bit of shiny object syndrome, a little bit of ADHD or something going on. So I'd really love to get a real legit CEO who's built a company to that level before to come in and take us to the next level. I think that could be pretty awesome.
And lastly, if you were to give one piece of advice to someone watching this right now,
Damn.
in anything, it's something we ask in every podcast.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my advice that I would give to my younger self, let's say, would be, excuse me, my advice would be think of your life in chapters, and in each chapter, try and do something amazing.
Yeah.
So everyone's going to have a chapter of going to school and having that. What's your next chapter? For me, it was to go traveling. I really recommend everybody go traveling, no matter what, because when you're traveling, you'll figure out more about yourself. You'll put yourself in uncomfortable positions. You'll meet more people, and you'll get a more understanding of what you want to do in your life. So make a chapter of travel, even if it's 6 months, even if it's 12 months. I did 3 years, still going. Do a chapter of travel, and then do a chapter of self-development, personal development. Okay, this is the time where I'm going to really, get my skills, whether it's sales, which I talk about a lot, networking, and just chapter it off like that. It's like a book, chapter it off. And then, see what's going to happen. Lay out maybe some future chapters that you're going to strive for.
Paul, thank you so much, man.
You're welcome.
What's the plan for the rest of the day?
I was going to do a training session, but I think we ran over. But I've got, I suppose this is going live later. Me and Rossi here are going to Andrew McKee's birthday, getting on the rip. It's my Grosvenor Rugby, playing CI, big fixture. So going for the president's lunch. Before that, we'll get on the Guinness. We'll see how we go.
Is that the go-to drink, is it?
Oh, it's good, good at a rugby game.
Yeah. No, honestly, Paul, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
If you want to find out more about Paul, where do you guys find you on social media, Lifelike Media?
Lifelike Media on Instagram. We have a YouTube now where we've started a lot of the stories we've told, they're all on there as vlogs. And my own personal is paul.belfast.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Right, so I got you some gifts. These are the Lifelike socks,
thank you so much.
In-demand Lifelike socks. And we got some for Ross, the other side.
Get the merch in, lad. Thank you so much again, lad, for your time.
Welcome, lad.
That's been all from the official Young Hunger podcast. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.